There was one example, I'm not sure within recent history if they still use this term, but when General P and I were cadets, we had a step-off, and I don't know if they still use that term.
I've heard it, but I couldn't tell you.
It was the first time you're not married as a cadet. Of course, the movie Brother Rat with Ronald Reagan is a wonderful movie. In the old days, you simply, it was your word. It was the honor system. You would not work. Well, they decided this particular year, when General P and I were cadets, that you now had to sign a piece of paper. And it was, I am married, I am not married. You had to check a block and sign your name. Mm-hmm. Well, the first classmen didn't think that was such a great idea. We believe you go by your word. So the first classman took over. This is the first classman now. We're letting you out of the rat line. Go upstairs, get in your room. And that was it. Everything was just in turmoil. The first classmen did not like having to do this. They felt like they were being challenged. They did away with the paper. There was no more. They just went by your word of mouth.
Mm-hmm. And did the commandant eventually agree to that, or what happened?
He moved along, and we got another commandant.
Well, the superintendent must have sided with you guys then.
He was a Marine, George R.E. Shell.
It's interesting to hear you talk about some of the controversies that occurred even in your time, because to hear it sometimes from the old Corps, it's like, no, everything was smooth sailing. We had the best experience. But what I'm hearing is that every generation, if you will, of cadet has some kind of controversy that they face or go through, or hardship and change that happens, change in traditions, change in policies and procedures.
Any change of leadership, any change that comes along, I really have always felt that the person in charge, there's been a certain review of their character, review of their qualifications, et cetera, et cetera. And I really believe that people come out with the best intentions.
Yeah.
And they want to make the best rules within the recommendations that they get from their staff, the Board of Visitors, whatever it may be. But it may not be the most popular decision that is made. And so I have to give that a lot of context and once again look back on, more than 150 years and say there's been ups and downs. And perhaps we didn't have the continuity of having, Francis H. Smith as a soup, for 50 years.
Right.
And having, General P for 17. There were a lot of iterations in between with General Knapp and others. But I try and give it context. No one is perfect. No institute is perfect. And I've always gone, you have a synthesis, you have a thesis and an antithesis. Mm-hmm. And that becomes a synthesis. And then your synthesis becomes the new thesis. And I think things move along in an iterative way that way.
Yeah, yeah.
That's absolutely the way I've always looked at it. Mm-hmm. So there is no perfect. And I think you have lessons learned. Okay, we tried this particular regulation. We tried this particular administrative, et cetera. It needs some adjustment. But I try not to have it polarized or manifested, by sometimes the way the media may do it. Mm-hmm. But I think everyone, from the soup on down to the cadets to the rats, know this is the most wonderful school, know the institute, know the tenets by which it was built, and they want to enhance it and they want to embellish it as they go through it, no matter what their position is within the organization. That's my belief.